The station of the stars. RTI.
It most definitely is. It's RTI, and it really is. Oh heck. We've got people telling me already, don't worry, we're snowed in, and I'm working from home today. Well, that's rather nice, isn't it? You lucky people. I didn't. I drove to work at -12 this morning. But there again, I'm a tough British man, you know, good old healthy blood through the veins. All right, forget all that lot. Hello, Lee.
Hello.
Are you warm?
I am absolutely freezing. Can I tell my tale of horror, or should we save it?
I think we should save it for a minute.
I think we should save it for a minute, but there are a couple of companies out there who are going to be named
and shamed. This is Postcard from Poprad, boys and girls, your alternative news programme from Poprad. And now we cross everybody's got snow, including Melbourne. It's Rachel.
We haven't. Where?
I thought you said you got snow.
No. I said here too, we saw the international news here too.
Ah, you meaning the demise of England?
Yeah, and Europe.
Well, Europe as well, yes. Apart from here, you see.
I'm annoyed by the whole business. As you know, I spent a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of tears and a lot of bronchial infections to spend my time in January in your blessed part of the world, and it didn't snow a thing. There was no snow. There was no such thing as snow.
Oh.
And now look at it, pouring down.
I know. It's marvellous, isn't it? We haven't got Stefan yet in Bali, so we might have to go back to that story a bit later on, which we will do. We will. It's been a fun morning, an absolutely fun morning, and I'll start by sharing some, what do they call it? Housekeeping, that's the word, housekeeping. I've listened to everybody. This is an absolutely gospel thing, rather than being silly. We just don't have time to manage sending out T-shirts to people and baseball caps and all that sort of thing. So we've done what the Americans call outsourcing. And you can now buy your caps online on the new site. You can buy baseball. You can even buy a piece of jewellery for your other half. Isn't that cool?
Nice.
Isn't that nice? I thought that was nice. T-shirts, girly T-shirts and boy T-shirts.
That's not true. Everybody's included.
Yeah, we're very inclusive. And there's caps, mouse mats.
Really good, actually. I've got to say, the caps are top notch.
Designed by yours truly. Thank you very much for the bouquet of flowers. I'll take that. She wouldn't have said that if she'd known I'd done it.
Why would you? It's not me who says ungracious things to you. It's Uncle Lee.
Oh, is it?
Yes. I have something ungracious to say.
Oh, God. Before you do that, Gary Pritchard says, David says, happy Friday to everybody. Thank you, David. Gary says, excellent show. Thanks for the mention. Gary Pritchard. Chris Meadows is there. He's probably snowed in as well. And Steve says, T-shirts are not much use in this weather. You're quite right, Steve.
No, but you can watch the window with them.
Oh, that's terrible. Can I just tell you my ungracious comments on your baseball caps?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you designed those baseball caps, Mr. Wiltshire, why didn't you put RTI FM on the back instead of the front? Because everybody wears them backwards, so nobody will see it.
The people that wear them backwards are not people we want wearing it.
No, we like nice people here.
We
so
do.
That is a moratorium from RTI FM that you cannot wear our baseball caps backwards because you look like a knob.
Wear it right or don't wear it at all.
Oh, Chris is sulking. He said, nope, waiting to start 3 nights. He works down in Gatwick. Never snowed in. And I think there was a sulk behind that. And good afternoon to Vanessa as well. Lovely to have you all with us. That is fab. But anyway, you can have a look at all that bit later on. Don't go over there now. It will be on the RTI radio fan page on Facebook, amongst other places. And a very good afternoon to Noreen as well, who's just joined us. So hello, one and all. Well, it could be morning where you are. No, because it's in England. Just 5 off that, 29 off that, take my shoes off, can't with my toes. Yeah, it's afternoon. It's all right. I'm really sad with the first story.
The problem is, we haven't got a list.
Oh.
We don't know what So you'll have to tell us.
I know what the first story is. It's that sad story about Emma Chambers, isn't it?
Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, that was terrible. This made me very sad.
Yeah, I know. Hang on a minute. I'll do some messages in a minute on Facebook. Don't go away, guys. Emma Chambers, she was the actress in Vicar of Dibley, and she was just the most amazing character that she played, Alice Tinker. And you just you wanted to hug her, didn't you? There was something about it where
she was absolute. She wasn't the most wonderful looking woman in the world, but there was something so cute and gorgeous about her that everybody adored her.
I know.
She was a pixie-like person.
That's it. You got it, Rach. That's it. She was like me, a pixie person.
Well, she was magical and full of wonder. I never watched The Vicar of Dibley. I know everybody's going to cry and be mean to me because I didn't, but I didn't. But I know her from Notting Hill.
Oh, right.
And
nice.
She played Hugh Grant's sister, and she was just magical and delightful and joyful in that film. She was so wonderful, and I thought, who is this person? I want to be her friend.
Oh, well, you did. She played that kind of character in Vicar from Dibley as well.
Oh, did she? Well, that's good. I should watch that show.
Well, I'm sure you can get a box set from somebody. It's worth it.
I think it's actually on our version of Sky.
Ah, that could be it. I can tell you we would sort of explain about trying to hook up with Stefan. They're in the middle of a tropical rain at the moment out in Bali, and the signal's very poor, so he can't get in with us at the moment, but he'll do his best to get on later on.
Okay.
Which is kind of good, don't you know? But yeah, a very, very sad loss, that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I just interrupt for a second? Just do a bit of housekeeping that the ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls can't hear. I've sent you a copy of the list, Rachel, the one that he forgot to send you.
Are you emailing it like normal people?
I've emailed it like normal people, but the way it gets sent to me, I could only send you a link.
Right.
A link will do. So long as I have some information.
That works for me. I'll read a few messages out while you sort yourselves out. Actually, thank you to Petra for sending the list out. I will stick my hands up and go, I thought I'd done it, but I got all confused with my email addresses this morning.
The next one's Frank Selby, Rachel.
Is it?
What's that?
Well, hang on. Well, you two get yourself organised. Tom Casey's just joined us, as has Richard and Adriana. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Tom says, a pixie person, you should have gone to Specsavers. R.I.P. Emma Chambers, a lovely, warm actress, so young at 54. Couldn't agree with you more, Tom. Absolutely dead right. Dave Fuller from Kent is there. And Steve says, ask him if he wants to swap his rain for our snow.
Well, to be honest,
I would.
Is absolutely incredible. I was one of the people who always attacked Britain over its attitude to snow, but now I have a tale of horror to tell.
Go on, Rachel. He's busting to tell this story.
No, before he does, I'm going to tell him that he too is inept because this link is not working.
Right.
Oh no.
All right. Let's see if we can do something clever now.
Should I tell my tale of woe while you try and sort it out?
Yeah, go on. You tell your tale of woe then.
Right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody else who's listening. Here we are, stranded in snowy Britain. And normally, it is my job to attack Britain for being so stupid as to fall apart because it's snowing. Well, this time, my house has fallen apart. All my pipes are broken.
I know. Hang on, we've got barley. Hold on, we've got barley.
Hello, barley.
We've got barley.
I love barley.
Hey, how are you doing, guys?
I'm all right. Stefan, say hello to Rachel and Lee.
Hi, Rachel. Hi, Lee. How are you doing, guys?
Hiya, Stefan.
Good.
Now, I mean, Rachel, you should be talking to Stefan because he's closer to you than me.
Yeah.
Well, that's what
Give him
I
away.
better than.
Do what?
I can hear him better than you can because he's closer to me.
Oh,
Exactly.
Where are you, Rachel?
Melbourne.
Oh, so yeah, we are really close right now.
Neighbours.
Okay, look, I'll tell you what, I've got an idea. Why doesn't Rachel ask Stefan what he's doing, because they're closer to each other. They can wave across the water, and find out what he's doing and where he's doing it and how he's doing it.
Yeah.
Go on, Rach.
Oh, I love Bali.
I'll carry on writing my story about the snow.
All right.
Bali's a great place. I love Bali. I haven't been for a very long time, but it was lovely. You're in the middle of your monsoon season, aren't you there, Stefan?
Yes, I actually am. It is right now tropical rain over here. So I'm enjoying a little bit of water dropping on my head. Yeah.
Tell everybody what the temperature is, though.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Tell everyone what the temperature is.
Oh, the temperature over here is 27 degrees Celsius. I don't know what is it in Fahrenheit, but it's really hot and really humid over here.
You don't have to worry about Fahrenheit, Stefan. It's only Lee that understands Fahrenheit. The rest of us understand Celsius.
Oh, that's great.
Fahrenheit's very good. Fahrenheit's a very good thing, Stefan. Don't you listen to him.
Sorry, Rach, carry on.
Whereabouts in Bali are you?
I'm actually staying at Padang Bai. It is on the east side. On the east side, close to Denpasar, actually.
Close to the airport. Nice. That's what you want. Just in case you think for any reason.
So come on, Rach, you're losing it. Stefan, what are you doing out there?
Oh, actually, the story is like that. I started diving some 2 years ago, and I was asking my kids to join me, and they were like really hesitating for a long time. And then I returned from Malta in May last year, and they were like, "Daddy, you're selfish not taking us with you." What? I was calling you so many times. And okay, it is right time for us. So I arranged a Christmas present for them, which they got last Christmas, and I arranged everything in October, and it is actually spring break for kids in our country. So I arranged everything. So during the spring break, they went no snowing, but they went actually for their PADI open water diver course. So that's what we are doing right now.
Oh, right.
Cool. We're diving.
And how does that work then?
I'm sorry?
How does this diving course work?
Oh, diving course?
Yeah.
Actually, you just find out location where you want to make your course. You call there or email there. And usually the diving center arranges everything for you. So I called, it was, I think, around November. First I booked the hotel, then I found some flying tickets, and then I started to look for a diving center. And I found, I found one. It is called OK Divers. It is a whole resort. They have hotel, restaurant over here. It is really, really nice place, a really cozy one. So I called them, and there was a girl who picked me the phone, and she was talking with a really familiar accent. So I switched to my native language, and she understood. I found out she was from Bratislava.
So hang on a minute. You phoned Bali to make a reservation for a holiday and end up speaking to somebody in Slovak.
Yes, which was really awesome. I called half of the globe far away, to just find out somebody who speaks my own native language. Yeah, that is great.
That is cool.
Actually, the place is owned by 3 owners who are Czech and Slovaks, which I found out just after I made my reservation.
No.
Yeah, and it was really funny. Actually, you can have a bramborak over here. You can have plenty of Czech foods over here.
No
of
way.
Course, yeah, definitely. There is Czech beer over here as well. So if somebody likes Czech beer, as it's world famous,
I think you should be part of the tourist board for Bali.
Okay, that's not something I'm looking forward. Or looking into, but if I can do something good for these people over here, I definitely would, because I really feel like home over here.
Well, I'm just looking at the Facebook screen at the moment, Stefan, and I'm seeing a lot of Czech people, Czech citizens on Facebook having a listen. So basically, if you're a Czech person having a listen, you can go to Bali, learn how to scuba dive, and have Czech food and drink Czech beer in 27 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which, as I found out right now, at our home city, which is Poprad, it's minus 22 Celsius right now. It's like almost 50 degrees difference.
I know.
Or, yeah.
I know.
So
I had to come
it's
to
incredible.
I came to work in that this morning.
Did your car start it?
Yeah. Yeah,
but start the engine? Okay, that is great.
Little Nessie's kept in a garage overnight. Bless her.
Yeah.
So how long did it take to get to Bali?
Actually, we were flying from Budapest to Dubai. We slept there one night because our connecting flight was 10 hours apart.
Uh-huh.
And then we continued to Denpasar. So the flight itself is like 14 to 16 hours, plus 10 hours sleeping on the airport. It took us almost 2 days.
Wow.
Then we took 1 day to actually adjust. It is 7 hours time difference. So we slept off 1 day.
Right.
And then we started to look around. We went to beach in Kuta. We went to see some,
beach.
you know.
Good grief.
Yeah.
Nothing but trouble there.
I know. Anyway, Stefan, we're going to have to let you go in a minute so we can get some news in, but thank you so much for doing that. That was really kind of you.
Oh, my pleasure. Anytime.
All right. Well, give our best regards to everybody there.
Okay, I will.
And do say Dubri Den from me, and wish them all the best in the future.
Oh, thank you very much. They will enjoy it for sure.
And what was the name of the resort again, Stefan?
The name of the resort for everybody who's listening right now, OK Divers Resort in Padang Bay, Bali.
I think if we just do the Bali bit we'll do. That's the easiest way. Stefan, a million thanks. Have a lovely evening over there.
Thank you very much. Nice day for you.
And we'll see you soon.
Yeah, hopefully. Bye-bye.
Bye. Sol says, are program arrangements an elderly condiment of life's feast? No. If not, I understand what you mean, Sol. What does a young buck need to start asking? You can ask us anything you like, Sol. Whether we'll answer it or not is another matter. But there you go. And Steve says, if it's that cold, how come you're wearing a T-shirt? Because I'm inside. Hello? It's not out. We don't do this. It's a good idea. We could do...
No OB. No OBs in the middle of winter.
But we could do one in the summer.
Oh, well, of course.
Yeah, we could go and sit in the garden and have an OB. That'd be nice. That'd be good. Anyway, so now Lee is in trouble.
Why am I in trouble now?
Because Andrea's just joined us, your better half.
And I know she's freezing. She's not just sitting there in a T-shirt in the house.
True. And I'm in trouble because Martina's listening.
Hello, Martina.
I'm not in any trouble.
Where's Rob?
Yes.
I'm in a bit of trouble because I have not got a list, but other than that, I'm in no trouble at all.
Oh, okay. And Tom Hardy's joining us as well, the broadcaster. Nice to have you with us, Tom. That is rather nice. Thank you, Tom. Frank Solby, founder of Rex Features, has passed away as well at the age of 100.
He was very, very well known. I think this is one you won't know about, actually, Rachel, because he was based in Britain, but he was an international photographer who set up the Fleet Street Rex Features agency, which disseminated pictures of all sorts of celebrity things and dramas and everything right across the world. And it became one of the biggest agencies in the world with 6 million pictures on its database. That's incredible.
Blimey. I've just seen a message. I can't... look, you don't keep winding me up, you lots. The message read, isn't Lee in trouble with his pipes?
I've got problems with my pipes. It's nothing to do with my I'll just try and explain just a little more because it is a really good punchline on this story. Yes, we are snowed in. We are frozen. Our hot water tank has frozen up. Our waste pipe has frozen up. part of the house. We've got 3 bathrooms in this house. 2 of them are frozen up. Everything is frozen up. And the reason is because we've got no heating. I can explain why we've got no heating later.
Because you didn't turn it on, you miser.
No, what happened was we ordered our oil from a company. I'm not going to name this company at the moment, but I'm going to name and shame the other one later on, who were due to deliver our oil, I believe, at the beginning of the week, because that's when the storm was going to hit. We knew we were getting low, so we ordered some oil. They can't get their delivery trucks out of their own drive to deliver oil. That is ludicrous. Why haven't they got a shovel and a bit of sand?
I know. Tom says too, well, this is really to you, Lee, do you still get summers in the UK anymore? I spend my summers in Long Beach, California. Oh, that's just, Tom, that's just showing off.
Well, it isn't actually, because I spend most of my summers for 6 months at a time in Spain. See?
I spend my summers in Australia.
She does. But no, we get 1 day a year of summer. That's why we all have gardens. I have an acre of garden, and we get to use it 1 day a year, and that is the summer.
Right. A ski centre down south was closed because there was too much snow. I saw that, mate. Judy Blaine, the punk jewellery designer. Stefan would have loved her because he's into all that. She's died at the age of just 58.
Very sad. He was a bloke. Judy is a bloke.
Is it?
Judy Blaine was a man who
was named after Judy Garland, of course.
He chose to be named after Judy Garland, yeah. And he made all, you know, when you see people walking around with champagne corks sticking out of their ears and rubber bands through their noses and safety pins and all sorts, he invented that. What a clever boy.
So he was a really punk rocker then.
He was a punk rocker, and he invented all those things you stick through yourself, and I am sure it can't not hurt to have a 10-foot ball of wood stuffed in your ear.
You do realise, of course, it's not just punk rockers, don't you?
It's the same people who wear the baseball caps backwards.
No, do you know what? Do you know Francis Rossi's party trick?
I saw Francis Rossi lose his teeth on stage, actually, once, but carry on.
His party trick is he picks up a pencil and says, "You should never take drugs like I did." And he puts the pencil through the sternum of his nose because there's a hole there.
It's terrible. He did, honestly. We were at the NEC. He did his head shake like that forward, and his teeth fell out, and he had to chase him around the stage. How embarrassing for a rock star.
Yeah. Actually, I don't get that at all.
What?
Well, he's got a lot of money, right?
Yeah, he could have had it improper, couldn't he? He could have done proper
exactly.
Things. Yeah. Well, he's a Cockney, isn't he? He's also one of the night, isn't he? And so he wouldn't do it. No, he spends it on beer.
Well, apparently, we're being educated this week, which is very unusual on this program. Sol says, go to the Catskill Mountains. There are plenty of creatives who do similar punk activities there. You learn something on this program every week.
Absolutely fascinating.
That's quite right. It's true.
Blimey.
Well, the Catskills are bountiful with creative weirdos, and it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing.
Are you saying Judy Blaine was a weirdo?
Yeah. I
am. Well, as we already know, boys and girls, because people are working from home today, they can't go here, there, and everywhere because the UK's, and I have to hold my hands up and say sorry to the UK.
Yes,
I do. I really do. Because when it first started, I kind of went, yeah, right. There's been one snowflake, and the whole of the UK's ground to a halt. And I was berating the UK slightly, and Martina said to me, "You're being horrible. You should see what it's really like." And a friend of hers, I think a school friend, actually sent a video of what it was like in her house or the garden close to London. And when I looked at it, I went, "Good, heck, blimey! I think I have to swallow all me nastiness because it's absolutely horrific."
He's really
spelt it down.
But don't feel too bad about berating Britain, because Britain is a ridiculous country in these circumstances. And as is our wish, the Consumer Watch Foundation has been uncovering the stupidity of this country. Let me just tell you two things. Like I say,
you just reminded me of something that I must do, and I haven't done it.
Go on.
Can I please?
Yes, dear.
Thank you, darling. We're going to be so nice to each other this week. It's going to be, you're going to throw up, everybody is. A grateful thanks to the Consumer Watch Foundation, Lee in particular, because there is what they call a moonwalk taking place.
Oh, right, of course, yes.
Which is my daughter, Caroline, and her friend Chloe. And they're the moonwalk raises funds for breast cancer. And they were doing, you know what, they were doing really well, selling cakes and bits and bobs. And they really got on well. And then Lee jumped in and helped out a bit. And I can tell you, they just smashed all of their theories on what they were going to make. So they'd set themselves targets.
Yeah,
and because it was promoted all over the place, courtesy of Lee, they just literally smashed their targets. And they're now getting close to £1,000 that they raised.
Well, that's brilliant, because the story's only been up there a couple of days, hasn't it? And at the beginning, I think there were around 300. So brilliant. Well done, everybody who's sent money or pledges to them to do this.
Absolutely.
This is a nature walk. And who else is mentioned in the story? Tommy Walsh.
Tommy Walsh, yeah. Yeah. Jan says, go back to the story, come on, it's not that bad at all. Roads are good, only some drivers should stay home, ha.
Well, that's a good point, yeah.
Do you know,
but it isn't that. It's the fact that, quite seriously, hospitals are on alert. Thousands of homes have lost power. Like I say, I'm frozen in with a house which is about to burst and become a watery grave for us both. And this floods chaos everywhere. This is the first real time that I would back England on this. 2 police forces have declared major incidents. The road outside our house is closed because 2 trucks have got themselves in a mess down the road. People are stranded in the cars. 4 before owners are being called to help help hospitals. It's chaos. But let me tell you,
Lee, what I would say before you have a rant, there are some proper weather warnings from the Met Office, and there's also Met Éireann as well in Ireland, and they are issuing serious weather warnings, and I mean serious, and you should take notice of them, because if you can let the emergency services and the highways people do their job, then ultimately, if you can work from home to relieve the pressure, do it. And in today's world, so many of us can work from home. And I do take on board what Jan said about some drivers. And I kind of are going to let them off a bit. Because when I learnt to drive, which is zillions of years ago, like you, Lee.
There weren't even cars then, were there?
Well,
No,
Rachel was walking in front with a red flag.
I was.
No, she wasn't.
No, I wasn't, because we don't like Greek girls anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But when we were taught to drive, there was not these wonderful things called radial tyres, which is what cars have today, with the squashy walls on the side. They were what were called cross-ply tyres, which had about as much grip as oil on glass. And you had to learn to drive in the winter with these horrible skinny cross-ply tyres. Now, when you drive in on radial tyres in the snow after that, it's like you're driving with Formula One sticky tyres on. It's amazing. But, of course, for decades, no one's had any snow, have they?
Now that's the problem, and that really is the problem. That's where we let ourselves down. But you can't actually really denigrate Britain for what's happened. And here's the funny side of it, because can you believe that yesterday the Met Office actually put out a yellow snow warning?
Don't go there.
No, it is official. There is in Britain a yellow snow warning. That's ridiculous.
I agree.
You've got a red snow warning, a green snow warning. Why didn't they pick an amber one? What idiot picked a yellow snow warning?
Oh, lordy. Oh, dear. I am going to read this out from our Steve Mann, because it is something worth noting for other people. He says, we escaped the worst of it here in Liverpool, but I still can't go out as my long cane doesn't work if there's any snow or ice, as you can't feel what the real surface is underneath. Yeah, and I get that, Steve, especially for sight-impaired people. So if you are near a sight-impaired person, give them a hand to go shopping. It won't hurt you at all. And Tom goes to our traditional mood on this programme at the end of part one, and we'll get on with the rest of this story in a minute. Tom says, I won't say it's cold here in Yorkshire, but I saw 3 brass monkeys crying earlier this morning. Boom! Back after the break, boys and girls. Don't go away, because we're not.
From the heart of Europe to the world, this is RTI.
This is an appeal that I simply wish I didn't have to make. In this day and age, how is it possible that 1,400 children will die today from dirty water? The children like Elodie have to drink dirty water from rivers and swamps, risking their lives. Right now, you can help save a child's life. Text the word water to 70080 to give WaterAid £3. WaterAid has the expertise to install pipes, pumps and taps that will bring clean water to children at risk. They just need your support. In the next minute, dirty water will kill another child like Elodie. So please, don't wait to save a child's life. Text water to 70080 now to give WaterAid £3. Thank you.
If your dream holiday is 2 hours from the UK, perfect for children and teenagers, young couples and the older visitor, ideal for the physically active and for those who just want to unwind, Aqua City is the destination for you. Described by the Travel Channel as the place that will soon be on everybody's lips, be ahead of the crowd and the envy of your friends, but still enjoy a home from home. Come to Aqua City Poprad, the world's leading green resort.
From the heart of Europe to the world, RTI.
Welcome back to part 2 of Postcard from Poprad on this glorious day. I love this. I do. I love the snow. I'm like a big kid when it snows. It's brilliant.
You're like a big kid anyway.
Very true.
I know. Like big kids together sometimes.
Tom, what are you on? Tom Casey says, what's the name of the teddy bear on the chair by you? I have one, and it's called Bim. I'm 74. You're never too old for a teddy bear. Well, I quite agree, Tom. And ours is called Teddy. T-E-D-I.
Teddy. A lot of imagination went into naming it, Tom.
So much imagination, really a brain buster. Yeah. Council of high intelligence got together.
Do you know what? I applaud Tom, because people like Tom who stay young live longer. It's the old people.
Absolutely.
Are like they're like old people when they're 19. And you know what? They're horrible people. Don't like them. Chris says, it took me an hour to drive the 3 miles home last night. Decided to walk this morning. Took me an hour.
Yeah.
Says it all, really, doesn't it?
Although, on the plus side, Uncle Eric, it's a good thing that Uncle Lee can't get his car out the driveway and onto the road.
Oh, yeah, because it's safer.
Frightening.
Yeah.
You're very rude. You're very rude.
What?
Very rude people. I have a thought before. I could go out and save people, but I won't do it now.
Well, only if Andrea was driving.
You need a plough on the front like Homer Simpson.
Anyway, back to the cold.
My story about the snow.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Here's the nub of it. This is what's really happening. Like I say, it really is happening. The beast from the east has whipped Britain with its tail. It's caused chaos. We've got floods. We've frozen in. That everybody's freezing. And so when we realised that our oil company couldn't get their trucks out of their own drive because they've got no shovels and they've got no salt and they've got no sand, we were left without any central heating oil. So what we did, dutifully, we got in our 4x4 and risked our lives to drive to Newport in Shropshire, where we know that the local B&M store always has coal. So we shot off down there, went in.
What's B&M?
Pardon?
What's B&M?
B&M? B&M is a major retail organisation which opened its first store in Blackpool. I'm reading this from their press release, so they've not bothered to reply. And there's now 560 stores across the country and employs over 28,000 people. So it's not a little backstreet store. It actually is a big organisation with professionals who know how to run a store. Mm-hmm. So we're standing there saying, we'd like a bag of coal, please. And this is what B&M told us. I'm sorry, we don't sell coal at this time of the year because it's actually spring. Can you believe that? In the cold
yes.
that ever hit Britain, a major employer says, no, we don't have coal because it's spring. I say, look out the window! Look out the window! What do you think that is?
Lee?
Yes, dear?
I'm going to defend them.
Go on, then. You can't defend them.
Because I used to enjoy going with my late father to buy the Christmas chocolates and later on in the year, Easter eggs.
Yeah.
I would go to the Christmas fair in June.
Yes, we know this, but it's nothing. That's nothing to do with it. You know as well as I do that they're within the retail industry. Your dad would have looked out the window and said, "Oh, it's raining. I'll put some umbrellas out."
Right.
That's retail.
Yes, but
maximize your profits.
But the point is that if you made your order, especially for heavy goods like coal, and if you've made the order, you probably made it months ago.
Exactly.
And therefore, there is no chance to get any more, because what happened on Monday is everybody went out with their cars and nicked all the coal, so you didn't have any.
I know, but the simple fact is, we are talking about why Britain reacts so badly in the snow. And this is exactly why it reacts so badly. Because no, we can't cope with that. We made our order for this day. They have a delivery truck, goes to their store every single day. And they could, at some stage, say, yeah, chuck some coal on that, because those poor people in Newport are going to be freezing.
But what happens if they haven't got any coal in their distribution warehouse?
Well, they should go out and buy some. That's the job.
Not gold. They've got coal in there. They've got stacks of it. This is how they're able to
order some. It's a big organisation.
Crying out loud.
Okay. All right. Those two have shouted me down again. I'm just redundant again. I'm just going to sulk. I'm going to have a strop.
Well, while he's sulking, let's carry on, Rachel.
I don't know what it is.
Well, we carry on because apparently the National Grid is worried that it might not have enough gas to keep everybody going.
I know.
There were 300 people actually stranded on motorways. And I have to say, well done to the Scouts and Guides. Well done to the youth groups. Because
well done to a lot of people, yeah.
Well, the Scouts and Guides up in Scotland were actually lowering down provisions to people that were stuck on motorways with hot drinks, Kit Kat bars. There are other ones available in the shops, and other sort of chocky items to give you a bit of energy. And these kids were out there. They were in their scouting uniforms. They looked smart, and you know what? They were young people who weren't doing bad things.
People are good people.
I know.
But it still begs the question, if young people, scouts and school children are all going out there helping people, what are stores like B&M doing to help people? Oh, no, sorry, it's spring, we don't stock coal. What a ludicrous thing to say. And, we put a question. We've been on to them 3 times now, giving them the chance to reply, and they haven't bothered. They've left the phones taking only messages. What's wrong with you, B&M? Tell us the truth. Why do you think you don't need coal in spring? It's February, you idiots.
Tom wants to know.
There's a cheap way of heating.
It's actually March, I know, but yeah.
Uncle Lee, there's a cheap way for you to heat. If you and Andrea pop under the duvet and let the curry do its thing, It gets really warm. You won't like each other very much, but it's
No,
very
you
warm.
can't do that. No, what you have to do, this is an old trick that we learned. What you do is you run upstairs. As you're running upstairs, you divest yourself of all your clothes. You dive under the duvet, like you say. You put the duvet over your head, stick your backside up in the air, and then start to hyperventilate, going like that. Under the sheet. All of a sudden, it's really warm.
Right. Tom says, is Lee related to Steve Wright's Mr. Angry? Go for it, Lee.
Well, I think that's a compliment, and I'm very pleased that you've said that. Thank you very much. The only problem is I ate Steve Wright. What a knob he is and all.
Poor Steve. He was nice at one time. Anyway,
nice
we are going to be serious for a minute, and I am going to be serious, even if I had to shut him up. There are weather warnings out across the UK and Ireland, and not just there, across other parts of Europe, where I can see people listening, like from Germany right now. Now, if you are of the persuasion, you are fit and healthy, don't go out otherwise, and you have a next door neighbour, don't go 5 kilometres or 4 miles away. Just go to people close to you. If they are an elderly person, if they can't go out, if like Steve, they can't get out because they've got a sight impediment, just knock on the door, say, do you need anything? Do you want me to make you a cup of tea? Something like that. And just help these people, because there are already deaths due to hypothermia, and we don't want any more of them. And do you know what? You guys can make all the difference. You guys really can make all the difference. So please, pretty please, could you go out and help your friends? Hang on, what was it? Oh, that's a clever idea.
What's that?
We're going to have double top tip week.
Oh, indeed. Top tips.
Yeah, this is Sol again, and he says, my mother would bring water to the boil and pour it into a mason jar, which is one of those really strong things, with a rubber band sealed lid. And then she would put that under the duvet, and it would be like magic. It just heated everywhere up. What a cool idea.
That's right. And also we have warming pans.
Yes.
All sorts you can do. You don't need oil or coal. You just do things.
Yeah, but as long as you've got some...
chop the furniture up and burn it.
As long as you can make a fire, you can make your bed warm.
That's right. And it's like people complain when they're stranded on a desert island that they've got no water to drink. You've got an ocean full of it there. Just boil it.
Well, not quite.
Like kill you, so please don't do that.
Yes, I was going to say that.
You can do it. I checked it last night just in case we got stranded and we had to drink an ocean. If you actually do what you do with alcohol, you boil it and you put some metal above it, it then falls down and the water falls.
You see, you're changing the rules now.
Yeah, that's different.
You might as well have just made an alcohol still, because that's what you've just done.
Yeah, but not seawater.
No, Lee, it's called condenser purification.
So actually, all I can say is I was right and you two were wrong.
No,
that's incorrect.
No. Boys and girls, please never.
I don't think so.
No.
On this show.
No, boys and girls, never attempt to drink boiled seawater. It is not good for you and it can kill you. However,
condense it.
If you use a condenser plate above it and the drips from the plate you put into a bottle, then you can drink those if you're brave enough.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
See,
you can do the same thing with sunshine.
Yeah. Yeah, you could actually. Yeah,
sunshine.
No, well, Sol's in it. He's been like the Encyclopedia Britannica this week. If you've got an old camping gas stove lying around, that'll help you. You can get heat from that.
Oh, you mean in the house when you've got no heating and no oil?
Yes.
And Aldi have got the same thing. They've stopped selling coal because it's spring. But they said they might try and get some in. Isn't that a bit better service? They said, well, we'll see if we can get some in for you.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you are going to use, and I know I'm sounding like an old fuddy-duddy here, if you are going to use exposed flame devices in your house, please do it carefully so you don't knock the runny things over. What?
Do it in your fireplace.
Well, not everybody's got a fireplace, dear.
Well, then don't do it.
Oh. He's just so brash sometimes, isn't he? Uncaring is the word I'm looking for.
I'm not uncaring. I'm freezing to death and I'm about to die. This could be the last thing I ever do.
Oh, my God, that's terrible. What a terrible way to go.
Exactly.
It's like I'm living Revenant over. This is me in Revenant.
Right.
Oh, my God. You're Leonardo DiCaprio.
Tom, if you really think I'm going to read that whole thing out about rubbing two Boy Scouts together, you're having a laugh.
Yeah, that's terrible. Who said that?
It was Tom. It used to be perfectly acceptable. Anyway, we move on because we haven't even touched the stories at all yet, really, have we? Marcus will now probably chastise me on Facebook because he was being really nasty to me because Maplin, the electronics retailer, has collapsed, gone into administration. And I have to say, all joking apart, it is sad that it's gone.
It is.
But if you've ever shopped there recently, it hasn't caught up with the real world.
I have to say, I bought my CCTV cameras off them last year, and I don't know what will happen with those in the future now when Maplin's gone. But yeah, they were very helpful, and it was a good organisation in many
That's what they were good at. But then they started doing all this yuppie stuff in there.
Yeah, it was. It's sad. It's very sad to see it go. Yeah. And Toys R Us is on its way out as well.
Yeah.
At the moment.
But I think, as you know, boys and girls, I come from a background where my father had a retail outlet. And, it was the local store.
Yeah.
And it worries me that if everybody buys, and I do desperately try to buy from shops, and I suppose that's in my psyche, but if everybody buys online, when you can't go out of your village, can't get out of your town because you're snowed in, where do you go then?
It's a very, very good point. Very good point indeed.
You can't shop online.
What, about 10 years ago, or it'd be 1989, when we had this other, where everywhere in Britain was snowed in, the village of the Dam was snowed in, and the only place that was got any power, and that's because it got a generator, was the Cock Inn, which is in the middle of the village. I don't know, it shouldn't be called that, but that's what it's called, because it's the village of the Damned. And the whole village, one bloke got his plough out and ploughed a road to the pub, so everybody could get to the pub, and we all spent 3 days in the pub getting absolutely wasted on flat beer.
Well, they are then.
Well, that's it. So what you're saying, yeah.
But isn't it, again, I mean, like in Australia, Rach, it's almost normal for the people around to learn survival techniques. It's part of the psyche, isn't it?
I just gave you
even if you're just, John Q. citizen doing your normal thing, if you decide you want to go for a drive out bush, you have to know certain things or you will inevitably perish.
Yeah.
So it's those sort of things. Plus we have, people think we've got all snakes and spiders all in our backyards and that kangaroos deliver the mail, and they don't. That's stupid. It's been outsourced.
Ouchies, though.
Yeah.
You how to deal with what happens if you get bitten by a snake, and you do know how to get, what happens if you're bitten by this sort of spider, and you know how long you got to.
Yeah.
And, what do you do when you go for a drive out in the bush? You take a buttload of water with you in case you get stranded. Otherwise, you're going to die. And yeah, it's part of the cycle.
Yeah. Well, apparently, Lee's only sulking about Toys R Us because he's very sad about Toys R Us because, of course, Lee is part of Toys R Us.
I've just tossed my toys out the pram at that remark.
Okay. And Chris says you can get anything in Maplin and Toys R Us from Amazon. I do. I get that, Chris. I really do.
Yeah.
It is a good point. But, like now, people cannot get deliveries. And that's because there's no corner shops left anymore anywhere. And if you don't...
Experience of shopping in a store. I mean, I like the idea of, I don't want to buy clothes on the internet. God knows what they'll look like when they turn up. I like the idea of going to a shop and actually touching and feeling merchandise and deciding which one I would like. And in terms of stores, I would prefer to go, even though it's more expensive these days, I'd prefer to go and buy the milk and the bread from the nice man who owns the shop on the corner than Woolworths or Coles or whoever else.
Yeah. And there's a lot... I think we've got to be careful with the balance. Yes, people, you shouldn't be paying twice the price for stuff. But the other thing is, if you need, I can't think, I'm going to use a light bulb. It's a bad example. But, if you've got that one room with that one light bulb and you haven't got a spare one, what you can do, wait 2 days for Amazon to deliver it? No, you can pop to the corner shop and get one. And, and your room's lit up again in about 10 minutes. But you can't do that if the store's not there.
That's right. And it's this particular town that I'm highlighting at the moment, in Newport in Shropshire, is a market town. And it probably has a high street of maybe 1/4 mile long, maybe even a bit longer. And it is jam-packed with independent shops. And it's a fabulous place to go to. You can get anything you want in Newport, apart from coal.
Yep. Anyway, we move on. Just to prove that Australians are still criminals. Ho, ho, ho. Australians have turned in 57,000 guns in a national amnesty. Hello.
Yes, big news actually. We had our first amnesty when they changed the gun laws after the Port Arthur massacre in 1994, I believe it was.
Yep.
And that was the last time we had a mass shooting in this country, just by the way, America. And they had this amnesty, and now they've called for another because there's, black market weapons, which are always going to be the case, and there's people who, wanted to keep their weapons after that legally keep them, but now don't want them anymore and have turned them in, and it's always there's always a big showing. I mean, this would never ever happen in the United States of America. They won't give up their guns for anything. But yeah, we're happily just saying, yep, here you go, we don't need them, it's all good, they're bad, blah blah blah. And sure, our guns are going to always be around, and the seedy underbelly is going to have a hold of them, and criminals will get them, etc., etc. But that's 57,000 more guns that they can't have, that the police now have.
Yeah.
And that's only a good thing.
Why do Americans go demand to be able to keep the guns and then go and shoot their own children? That's outrageously strange.
Isn't
it?
Yeah. It's a collateral thing, that I've often asked whenever I meet an American person. It's not the first thing I ask them. I ask them their name quite often, but then I say, "Hey, what's the story with your gun laws?" And I said, "What about the children who keep dying in these school massacres?" And they say, some collateral damage is a small price to pay for our freedom. And that is bizarre to me. I can't get my head around it. But it's their culture.
So children are collateral damage.
Yep.
Well, anyway, I'm going to squeeze one more story in, which is close to my heart as well. There's a legal case being taken out in the High Court in London, which is being seen as a landmark case. And it's all about the right to be forgotten in a Google search. And if you remember a few years ago, I think Lee and I got terribly excited thinking, hurrah, if there's some rubbish things on the internet which are not true, then you can actually have them taken off by filling in this form with Google, and they will get rid of it. Actually, they don't. They don't.
I tried it.
I have tried it. I have checked it out with another, not me, with another name. And they say, well, we can't decide. Whoa. Well, hold on a minute. What are you deciding about, Google? You're not judge and jury. And this guy who's going to court, he did have a criminal conviction. He's not hiding that, but it was from the 1990s. And he's asked it to be removed. Google said it would defend the public's right to access lawful information. How do you know what information on the Wild West internet is correct or not?
And since when did they become the boss of the internet?
Well, exactly.
That's a good point, yeah. There is the fact, though, very simply, that if somebody's got a criminal conviction, and I'm in the same position as Rachel, I thought I'll do what Rachel's doing. I'll do it kamikaze without a list. But I can't remember what he was done for. But to expunge parts of history because somebody doesn't want their conviction to be left in the public domain for 20 years after his life is a wrong thing. Part of the judicial system of our country is that the people who commit a crime are written down in history. for what they've done, and you should never, ever be able to remove that.
Right, well, this guy was apparently done for false accounting in the late 1990s.
Well, you don't want to be your accountant then, do you?
Well, no. Well, you might do, actually.
He didn't murder anybody, you know.
Well, this is another point of law. His conviction, as it stands now, is deemed spent, which means it's over.
Yeah.
And that's under the Rehabilitation of Offenders Act 1974. So the law says he's no longer a criminal. But Google are saying, yes, he is.
Well, history is saying that he is. And you see, the problem with this is, this bloke might have a legitimate reason for having it removed. What about somebody, say, like Peter Sutcliffe? You know, the
True.
Yorkshire Ripper.
Yeah.
At what stage do you remove him from the history books? At what stage do you remove all the criminals from the history of the world? It's an outrageous thing to do. And I'm sorry, if you did something wrong 20 years ago and your name still pops up, maybe you shouldn't have done something wrong 20 years ago.
I agree with that, Lee. But what happens if you didn't do something wrong? Somebody puts it on the internet and Google says, we can't see anything wrong with their statement.
Well, then that's again is what you've got to prove in law. I'm going through my own position at the moment where I'm trying to prove a legal case, and I'm being stopped left, right, and centre. But at least I'll continue and I will defend what I'm doing. It's not because I'm in any trouble. I've not done anything wrong, but somebody else has, and I'm trying to prove that they have. But the fact that if I wrote something about them that was wrong, they'd make me take it down, or I would take it down. I would say, yes, sorry, that's wrong. You know, but the difference is, once the case is proved against them, then the world should be able to look at these people and say, this is what they did.
So what we could say to Google is, there has no case been proven against this person. Take it down. If not, you've got to prove it to us that you've got the evidence to prove they are guilty.
I think that quite feasibly is right, because the problem is, like Rachel said,
I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that.
Google have no right to dictate what our history is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, they don't. They don't.
And that's what they're trying to do. If they took on the job of being the biggest search engine in the world, well, take the responsibility with it. If it costs you loads of money and you've got to check everything that's on there, that's your job, because that's what you chose to do.
Yep.
Not a dictatorship. It's, supposed to be a democratic situation.
Yeah.
So they treat it as such and not wander around like they're Putin or any of those other nasty people who like to lord it all over everybody.
Yeah, I agree, right. I agree.
If you want to bring the world together, then behave like you do.
Exactly.
That's
right.
right.
No, I was going to go down the Facebook route, but I'll leave it for a minute. Anyway, I got to say a million thanks to everybody who's joined us this week. I'm sorry I haven't even been able to say hello to everybody. My apologies, and I'm sure I missed some of the messages out on the way through because there are far too many for my poor little brain to cope with. But there again, it's support. I've got my shoes on today.
Have you?
Yeah, I mean, I can't count with my toes anymore.
Oh, dear.
I know, it's terrible. Anyway, as we do religiously on this programme, so hang on, it's not cold in Melbourne, so Rachel will be running around skinny dipping.
Whoa!
Nobody needs to see that ever in their whole life, ever. And even after their death, they don't need to see that. It's going to be 30-something degrees here tomorrow, so I'm going to run around and look at how many places sell coal for barbecues. Because I'm sure it's lots.
That's horrible.
Robbie and I are going to have a weekend of trying to do nothing. He's been working very hard. I've been working very hard, and we're kind of exhausted. So it's a bit of a quiet weekend for us.
So will you take a little video of you lighting your coals and put it on Lee's Facebook page?
Yeah. I'll even put my mittens, warm my hands over it and all.
That'll work, won't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll roast a marshmallow over it. I'll do something.
He's such a grumpy. Oh no, he's not. He's one of. So I presume you're managing to get to the pub this weekend, Mr. Banks.
Well, no, the plan for this weekend is that we're going to go out foraging for food. I'm going to fight black bears and take on wolves, and we're going to survive in the worst conditions Britain's seen in 30 years.
So what are you really going to do?
Go to the pub.
Yeah, I thought so. Time for City.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
That was Postcard from Poprad for another week. Thank you so much for joining us, one and all. It's been fabulous having your company. We've got Steve. He's up next. Let me just check. Is Steve? Yeah, Steve Bishop's up next. Do you know he drives a train as well? I've seen pictures. Really has. Don't forget you can catch us all on www.rti.fm again. And if you want the T-shirts and stuff, the store is well and truly opening. Sol says, thank you for a great Friday night broadcast. You're most welcome, young man. We'll see you next week. Have a great one. Don't go away. Steve's up next.